Hey guys, it's Steve. Sorry for the delay. My daughter had a doctor's appointment, and I just lost track of how late it was. I apologize. Um, you think a 9:30 doctor's appointment would be over by 11:30, but not so much. Doctor got there about what I discovered later was 11. I wasn't watching the time. I left my phone in the car. Anyway, sorry about that. So one of the topics I want to cover while everyone's kind of assembling, whoever's able to come, is some of the documents you need to prepare. And this is more licensed than non-licensed, but it does apply both ways. Um, and so let me just sort of take a step back. I am making an offer on a property, and I will show you the property, and I will show you how we evaluated said property. And then we will walk it through. This is a small multi-unit. It's 3 single-family homes on one parcel, and another space which maybe could be something in the future. It's pretty crappy now, but could be a storage area. Maybe if you work real hard, it could become a tiny home. But anyway, so here is the actual property. It is 3 single-family homes. It is listed, so it's, take it for what it is. It is 3 single-family homes. That's a 2-bedroom home. That's, I guess, behind the 2-bedroom home, I think. That's the other 2-bedroom home. It is not on, but near Harvey's Lake. So I don't know exactly. I believe the house is basically to the lower right of this picture. They're obviously selling the location. So if you know Harvey's Lake, Pennsylvania, this is what I call lily pad area. This is where the outlet, I think, for the lake is. I'm pretty sure the water goes this way. This is Lakeside Skillet, or Fishtails, as the locals know it, and this is the house. So you're not waterfront. You're not even water view. Like, if you droned, you might get water view. Really long shot. If you put a second floor deck on something, you might get water view. But still, and this is one of the most expensive lakes in Pennsylvania. Every foot of waterfront is like $5,000. Forget there being land to put a house on. If you own the waterfront and no land, just the waterfront, $1,000 a foot. You own land, it's more. Cute little houses. Well, the 2 that I was in, well maintained. But like, when I say little, I mean they call that a bedroom. It's a twin. I mean, it is cozy. Yeah. If you put a double in there, you're not getting to your closet, basically. But extremely, extremely cute. Don't know what the hell that is. And a very desirable school district, a very desirable, yeah. Okay, fine. So, and everything goes to the numbers. Right now, on a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom, they're making $2,200 a month. They have another 2 bedrooms, so figure. I'm figuring $3,300 straight up. So here's what I'm seeing the numbers at. And this is dangerous because the bedrooms are small. But we're seeing the numbers as 3,300, 2 11s and a 9, or two 12s and a 9. One bedroom, the 2 bedrooms are 12, the other one's a 9. And that's mostly because they're single families in a highly desirable area. Tiny 2s would not normally generate that. So gross, 39.6. Now I'm going to show you my numbers on the math. I do 10% management, 10% maintenance, 10% vacancy. Vacancy, management, maintenance. 10% each. That's just my standard. I'm not buying it without that. Here's my taxes. Here's my insurance. Here's my sewer bill. This property has no water expense because it has a well, which cuts both ways. If well fails, well's expensive. It's like $8,000 or $9,000 to drill a well, and then you're good for another like decade or something, 25 years, something like that. I don't expect that to be a problem because where this is located on a hill, I think too much water flow is going to be a problem. Water coming down the hill going to the lake. So I'm a little bit more the other way. So then we have cash flow of $20,000. Annual debt service leaves that for profit, which is debt service coverage ratio of 1.25, which is what we want. You want 1.25. Now, a normal buyer, look, using exactly the same numbers, but using lower maintenance vacancy management. And some people go even lower than this. I mean, this is actually still generous for some people's rules. Is going to look at it as a 2.41, meaning the cash flow is more than double the debt service. So a normal buyer is going to be, woohoo, yay! I don't know why this property sat around for 111 days. But this is the property in question. Now, one of the documents, and they've only done one of the two documents that they need to give for a transaction, especially an on-market transaction like this one, is the property disclosure statement. The other one is a lead disclosure statement. See if anyone's joined us at this point. No? Okay, fine. Which, if you're a estate, you can exempt yourself. Meaning if the property was in the estate of whatever, being handled by an executor, some format of that. Asks a whole bunch of questions. So I'm going to scan these questions. There's only 10 actual questions in here that are state required. PAR just breaks it down pretty granularly. So he bought it in 2022. Now I'm actually curious if it tells us in the history. So he bought it in 2022 for $135,000. So he's trying to double his money. Almost. Which, you know what? More power to him. It's not a condo. It's not a condo association. Fine. Knows nothing about the roofs. No documentation. No knowledge of leaks. Okay. Unknown about some pumps and some pits. I didn't see any. Okay, fine. No on the wood destroying insects. No knowledge on structural items. So it takes a pretty good detailed look at what the owner knows. He hasn't done squat of importance to the property. And if I wanted to, again, because this is a listed property, I could go back to the original listing and look at the pictures and see, did he even, and this isn't like this is not need to be done, but I want to see what he did. So these basically are the same as he bought them. In fact, they look like the pictures are actually identical. So this man's going to have a huge color change. Okay, so he cited that one. Because that one's white now. Not a lot of pictures. But anyway. Water source is a well. He doesn't know if it's ever been tested. He knows nothing about. Water, the sewage system is public. On-lot sewer, on-lot disposal. So we've now learned that we don't know anything. He's claiming no knowledge of anything useful, which is now going to make me go to the lack of documentation on the previous sale. There should be a documents button here where they previously gave the seller's disclosures. Okay, so I can't compare to what was there before. Fine. He doesn't know how the water is heated, which I find odd, but okay. He's actually, he doesn't know what it is, but he knows what it isn't. Okay, fine. He doesn't know what his heat sources are either. And this could just be a New Yorker that bought it and never actually went there, so I'm not terribly surprised. Electrical system, doesn't know about fuses or circuit breakers. I think they're all circuit breakers from what I saw. So really, he doesn't know much of any value, which is very. It's common not to learn more from a. It's common to learn nothing from a disclosure. He's not aware of expansive soil. He's not aware of any property rights. He doesn't know any of drainage problems. Have you taken any efforts to remediate mold? Now, this one I didn't see coming. So now I'm going to jump to my, because I've already written an offer. That's not the one I meant to write. Oh. All right, wrong offer. All right, so I got to go into my zip forms and look at the documents here because I obviously didn't download them the way I thought I had. All right, I got to plug in the sellers, which I'll just knock that out now because otherwise I'll forget. It's not terribly uncommon for sellers, especially who are probably out of the area, to not know much about their property. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to enter into the document Now, the reason I'm pushing these dates so tight, 2 days, is because I have 5 days to put a deposit in. I don't want to bother putting a deposit in if it's just going to come right back again. We don't know about lead paint. That's the other form he didn't do, but nobody knows. If a building is older than 1978 construction type, assume lead paint was used. Why? Because before 1978, there was no non-lead paint. It was lead paint. So just assume somewhere in that wall, there's lead paint. Woohoo! Anyway, where is it? Where to go? We know nothing about deed restrictions and title. Also, we have a yes on insurance claims, which is interesting as well. So I now want to know about so this is why these are important. Now, he actually already answered this one. Did he tell us anything about the mold question? No. All right. So then this gives us a completed offer on the property. There's a couple other documents. So there should be a consumer notice. Which in this case should be for the buyer. We represent the buyer. And there should be a buyer estimate. And by the way, the form is the one you want. The PDF means it was a previously filled out one, and I just don't want to mess with that. So the consumer notice, and I should have used, okay, so I used a CN that's actually a PDF, so I have to use a consumer notice. Yeah, seller, buyer form, fine. CN, buyer form, boom, that plugs me in. Buyer's estimated costs, and this is what you will always want to tell, and again, if you're not licensed, you're not required to do this, but I do this anyway. We're making this as our offer. We just assume 2,500 in title insurance. Might be okay. So assume 1% in title insurance plus a little bit, starting at 750. The floor is 750. This is an estimate. This is the purpose of this document. Okay, so buyer estimated costs and seller estimated costs. Buyer estimated costs are, hey, Mr. Buyer, you're offering $100,000 for the property. No, you're not getting possession of it for only $100,000. There's other things that are going to cost you money on top of that number. Whatever number you agree with the seller, there's more. It's like you're not buying a T-shirt at Walmart for $1 and walking out for $1. You're walking out for $1.25, $1.30, or whatever the number is. There's something on top of that number. Same thing with the seller estimated cost. Hey, Mr. Seller, you accepted $100,000. It's paid off free and clear, no title. Fine. You're not walking out with $100,000. You're still losing some dollars. It's not an equal number. There's expenses. That's all this is this is a warning flag. In fact, a lot of times I will put in here, unknown items, title and liens. I'm saying, here's a flag. There is something. I'm not doing this for me in this one because it's for me. I don't need that. But whatever. Recording fees typically $500. Transfer tax in this town it's 2% split evenly. Hello. School tax $1,800. Half a year. I just put in half a year. Property inspection, and this is you doing your best to make a guess on each one of these line items. Less mortgage amount, less this, balance to its settlement. So if you know your lender is going to give you $150,000, then I know I'm bringing $67,522 to the table, which is frankly more than I want to bring in this deal, but okay, fine. So then we're going to check off all three of these, and we're going to download them as a single file, or send them out using this one, send them out through my signing software or whatever. I'm having trouble with my signing software, so not that today. So, there he is. Hey, Nair, how you doing?
What's going on? How you doing?
Oh, here's on mute. There we go. All right.
Oh, I'm on mute. Everything good?
Yep. Hey, yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. How about you?
Everything's good. Yeah. Just cold. It's getting cold outside.
Yeah. Weather's changing fast. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're getting through the real estate bees and the other leads pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the leads that you sent me called me back like the other day. The one I told you about yesterday. It,
Okay.
it was just a random callback. I mean, I don't know if you looked at the cliff notes that I sent you, but
Yeah. So let's. Yeah. In fact, actually, I wanted to circle back with you today and try to get those knocked out. And by the way, if they call you, feel free to like call me right away. Because a lot of times I'm getting a VA on board to read my emails, but a lot of times I'm not looking at them right now.
okay.
Um, so yeah, so if you want to go over it now, we can. But what was the gist of it?
It was she well from what she told me was basically she's moving down south and she just wants to sell it because she needs money to move down south. It used to be a convent. I don't know what that is. Maybe you know what that is.
Convent is back in the for the Catholic. That's where all the nuns used to live.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much the nuns' house, which is going to mean one or two shared kitchens, a couple shared living rooms, and a few bathrooms and a lot of sleeping spaces, basically.
Got you. Yeah, she said it used to be a convent. They live in it and they're in the process of cleaning it out. Because when I asked if anybody lives in it, she said, "Yeah, we do. We're in the process of like cleaning it out because they move in." Um, Let me see what else. I'm looking at my notes.
I mean,
Uh,
if you want to, I can put you up on the screen. You can share your screen.
yeah, I just got it. I have it on my phone. It's not my phone is
No,
not
it's not over there. Okay.
my phone is not connected to my computer for
All
some
right.
reason, which is weird because it's a MacBook. I don't know why it's not connected. But it's strong brick construction. It's light cosmetics. Said it needs a new floor, paint, walls, windows. She said she redid the kitchen, so
All right. So what did you end up with for comps and so forth, and where is it?
it's as far as comps, it's between it's like 200. The highest is like 260,000. So I
No,
want to
no,
say,
no. We never care about highest. We care about lowest or middle.
oh well, all right. Well, the lowest
You
is
got to remember the market's heading crashing down. We're not highest was never our game, but it's certainly not our game now.
okay. So the lowest when looking at the comps is 205.
All right.
That's
So
the lowest.
basically, um, so 205 and like that's comparing because the convent's usually so many bedrooms. It's usually like 10 or 12 bedrooms. So like, what are you comparing it to?
Mm, I mean, from what I was looking at comps and looking at the average sale price in that area, which is about 217, because it's like $58 and 65 cents per square foot. So what I was looking at was
Good.
when I was looking at the comps, I was comparing it to like the one single family that's in that like area in like a retail store. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't really know how to
All right.
judge it.
So what's the address? So let's kind of start with that.
So the address is 248, and then it says A West Broad Street, Tamaqua, Tamaqua.
Okay. So this was the tomato one I saw last night. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Tamaqua,
Um, yep.
PA.
Yep.
So
All
two
right. So
four
the
eight.
first thing we do, yeah, is this it? This
Yeah,
is a great one, I guess.
I gotta see the
Oh,
screen.
so sorry, I took it off. I didn't do that. There it is.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. So the first thing we always want to do is we want to see if it's listed. It was listed in 2022. It was a pending sale of 145 back then. Pending sale meaning it never closed.
Right.
It sold in 2020 for 55 grand. Um, So what has she done to it since all that?
Well, from the phone call, it's basically just the kitchen.
Okay.
That's it. Everything
Okay.
else needs like minor updates. It's no foundation or water or roof issues. Yeah. So that was it. Needs drywall, flooring, doors, and bathroom updates.
All right. So just from what they're showing, it looks like you've got a nice backyard.
Mm-hmm.
You've got maybe you got some parking going on back here, or maybe you don't. It's kind of hard to tell where that goes out behind the house. Oh, there's a garage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. All right. So it looks. I mean, it's very, you know, cozy cottage kind of whatever. But it definitely looks like it's move-in ready.
Right.
I mean, some updating, yes, but definitely somebody could live there. Tamaqua was not a hugely valuable piece of market. I mean, it's not like a hellhole, but it's an interesting piece of market because it's very close outside of Hazleton, which is very very good piece of market. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take, Zillow says 182, which we don't ever care about this estimate.
Right.
But one of the quick ways to do it is you can click behind the Zillow and you can say, show me sold, home type, single family in this case. Even though it's close to its neighbors, it is disconnected. And you can say, okay, I mean, this, while 260 is all the same size, well, no, size 1,700 square feet. So it's actually a very small convent. It was never a large convent. But this has probably got more land. These have got more land. So they're not really, again, that's where you've got to comp them something that looks like it. So you've got to find something else in town, yada, yada, yada. So, maybe it's half of this, if it's actually half of that. For 201, maybe it's like this, 200 kind of thing. And again, I'm not trusting Zillow, but I'm just sort of using it because it's convenient. But like, okay, so then we go to any other. Now, where did you comp it at? Did you comp it at B's? Is that where you pulled the comps at?
Yeah. I comped it just by going on prop and looking at the comparables.
Okay, so prop stream or not B's,
Yeah.
the other one.
Basically,
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. When I looked at that and it basically had the same thing, I was like, okay, so clearly the lowest is, like I said, what was it? 120, yeah, 125. Yeah, the lowest is 125 and the highest is 260. So what you're seeing with the 267, that's the average, it looks like.
Now, does she know what she wants, or should we just give her a call and see?
No, I did. Like I said yesterday, I told her, I said, well, what I'm going to do is me and my partner are going to look at everything and then try to call you back and see what we can do. Because she didn't say what she wanted. She just answered the questions that I needed answered, and she was just waiting on a call. But you were busy with other stuff, so I was like, all right,
well, anything. Even though I'm always busy.
Okay, yeah.
When you have, and this is for everybody, when you have somebody on the line, bug me until you get me. Don't wait for me, because I've got I've always got too many things going on. So what I rely on you guys to do is, when you have somebody, bug me and Ryan until you get us. Don't wait, because the sellers aren't waiting. The sellers are calling somebody else.
Got you. Yep.
So don't be like, oh, when Steve gets back, because the deal isn't there when Steve gets back.
Got you. Yep.
So always, get it, get to me or text me, and if I say I'll call you back and I don't, get me back, because one of my problems is there's always something else on fire. and or there's not, and like I spent the last couple of days, I said, well, things are pretty quiet. Let me do some administrative computing work, and it's just I haven't quite figured out that secret sauce. So as soon as we get off this call, let you and I call her.
Okay.
And figure out if you want to text her now and see if she's available.
Will do.
And but basically, so barbershop live-in space. So really, what basically we would continue. We would go through this and we would find something in Broad Street, Tamaqua that matches it. But basically, from what you're saying, we now know that probably that bell curve is going to be lower twos, maybe.
Yeah.
Dipped in gold, and that might again. I am not a Tamaqua fan. Okay, I mean, I am a Tamaqua, and by the way, I'm a Tamaqua fan in terms of it's a great market, but it's not a high value community. So basically, so basically, it's like, okay, we can't predict anything high up there because Tamaqua is a very residential, small town.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really have anything going for it necessarily. But do I think somewhere in the low hundreds is her fast dollar amount? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, yeah. So I mean, and if you want to just call her up while we're doing this call, oh no. Yeah. So all right. So what we do before we call her, and we've already done a lot of this. We kind of finish this call and then we'll jump off and call her. Is we look at what the comparable sales are, and you've already kind of said, so probably what you're thinking is dipped in gold, probably low 200s.
Right.
And if we remember what Zillow said, 182. So okay, so right now 182, dipped in gold 200, and really the math never changes. From there, the math always goes. So if it's going to be 204 ARV.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to go, and I debate with wholesalers all the time. I go local wholesaler right now. He's like, "Oh, 0.7 is a crazy way to do it. That's way too much to take out." Well, no, it's
basic math.
In my opinion, it's not, because, and here's where this 0.7 comes from. That is not your profit. That 30% is not your profit. You're going to pay your lender if they tell you 12%. You're actually paying 15% borrowing. So that is lender dollar, agent dollar, profit dollar. So you're borrowing this much times your lender. Then your agent is going to be, let's say it's 6. Your agent in closing, this is your sales costs, not yours,
right.
Flipper's sales costs, and that's going to be that, and then your profit is really your profit's whatever's left. So your 30% is this minus that. So your end flipper is going to make that minus these other two numbers. So in this case, he's looking to make 23,000. So rule of thumb, and this might even be, it's 8%, 6% transfer tax. It might even be like 09. It might even be 9%. Basically, your flipper is making typically 10%. That's, I always say it's a 10-10-10. Lender, agent, profit. It's not. It's more to the lender. The lender wins. But the point is that's why 0.7 wins.
Right.
If the wholesaler who really debated with me on this one, he's like, yeah, but most of my guys use their own money. So what? Their money's worth money. Well, most of the guys use their own crew, so they don't spend as much. Okay. they still pay those guys, and they should, in their construction company, make a markup. Maybe they can run their numbers thinner if they say, hey, I don't care about the interest on my money because I'm making a good flip money. Okay, great. If you didn't make the lender money and you're making 41,000 over here, you're just slicing the onion differently. And if you're willing to say, hey, I'm making 21,000, I don't need to make the lender money. I don't care. 21,000 up. Okay, that's your internally to the flipper. They can play their music however they want. When we're marketing a deal, we have to say there's 70%. Now, looking at the pictures of this property, I mean, it looks nice. I mean, she's got a nice house there.
Indeed.
And this may be dipped in, and this is the main thing we've realized. In this case, this may be dipped in gold for Tamaqua. This may be it.
Like you're saying, that's what it could be. Like that, what it look like.
I mean, this could be as good as you need to make it in Tamaqua.
Gotcha.
I mean, because this is certainly move-in ready. This is certainly, I mean, this is retail. Put it on the market. Let an end buyer decide what they want to do to it. I mean, this is not a dump. A family can live here tomorrow. If I were to flip it, and this is, I hate making this call because, you know, one answer to a flipper is drywall everything, whitewash everything.
Yeah.
Get rid of the drop ceiling. Make it as vanilla. I mean, because it's already his thing. It's already pretty vanilla. I mean, you can make it, you know, a little bit better vanilla by doing drywall and getting rid of the drop ceiling and getting rid of the fluorescent tube lighting. But there's not a huge amount that has to happen here. But you've got 1,700 square feet, and I would typically average $20 a square foot. You know, because I'm looking at this and saying, okay, well, that might be carpet, but it's definitely linoleum. It's okay. So I'm probably going to do a paint and carpet of this house at $10 a square foot anyway. Paint and flooring, which is already kind of there, so it doesn't need it. But if I figured, let's just look at this and we'll say, okay, the kitchen, and again, what is dipped in gold? And that's where you go back to your comps. You go to your highest end comp and you look, what is a finished dipped in gold house looking like? What is one of these finished houses for $270? You know, what does Tamaqua want when Tamaqua is dipped in gold? What is the market actually looking like? And this is not a comparable house, but let's see, because this is a highest end one we found. What's their kitchen? Okay, so $267, and it's still kind of a 1980s kitchen. It's not a granite countertop because it's a top load sink.
Yeah, they resemble each other a little bit.
Yeah, so like, okay, so this is not, but this is a tile floor, but it's a very nice. This one's a very 90s look. Now it's a better property because of whatever, you know, it's not a better piece of land. But all right, if we look at something more in town, okay, so what does this 200 one look like? Somebody did a lot to this 200 one. It looks pretty. That is definitely granite and tile.
That looks newer, yeah.
Yeah. So granite and tile is a thing in dipping in gold in Tamaqua. So you're going to spend 10 grand in a kitchen making it look like this. They have no wood walls whatsoever. They do have drop ceiling. So drop ceiling still
So that
works.
might just be a thing. That might just be a thing in Tamaqua then.
Yeah. I mean, this shows if this house sold, that drop ceilings don't bother anybody. So I don't have to do that. They've definitely updated their bathroom, you know, and they've got more garages and probably, you know, whatever. So, okay. So we now know, going back to our house, that we're going to have to throw 10 grand at this kitchen to really make it ideal. So we've done 20 grand. We've done 17,000 in paint and flooring. We've done 10 grand, let's say, at the kitchens. So that's 30. Guessing that's just the vent for the. It's kind of weird how it runs behind the toilet. I don't have any bathroom pictures to go on, so I'm just gonna. Okay, so basically, so we're looking at 30 grand. Let's just say $35,000 in rehab.
Just estimated.
Yeah, because I'm saying okay, $17,000 in paint flooring,
Mm-hmm.
maybe more if I decide to have to drywall. And
Right.
maybe less if I say, well, I don't have to paint these walls, so split the difference. 17,000. I'd throw another 10,000 on there to 27 for the kitchen, and then I'm throwing another 8 grand on there, just to not to kill her, but to just be like, all right, what does that look like? Um, I mean, this is my guesstimate of what I think I might have to do to the house if I was flipping it. So that's a rehab number, which we do have a rehab calculator, which we've covered before. I can cover again with you. So then this is the most the flipper can spend on. Then a wholesale fee, and then and this is where, we're going to want to be in ideally 100. She's going to laugh at 100, and she should laugh at 100 because we know she goes on the market, she's going to get more than 100 for this. So then it becomes okay. What do you really want? We know that somebody bought something similar, $200,000, dipped in gold. Not so dipped in gold on the outside. Hers is nicer on the outside, but kind of nicer on the inside.
Right.
So it would take us probably now again with all that wood there. And the problem with that wood is that it's also a little bit of a culture shock, not the word. There's going to be a sector of the audience, if you left the wood alone, is going to say, no, I don't want that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, flipping is the game of the vanilla. So it's the game of the everyone's going to be okay with it. Now, is it worth tearing out all that, frankly, what someone might consider nice and cozy woodwork? No, probably not. And also, is that woodwork or is that paneling? Is it worth skim coating that woodwork? I mean, tackling the crap out of it and painting it? Yeah, maybe. And so our call, when we get off this call in a few minutes, our call to her will be like, all right, you know what? Hey, listen, we really kind of want to be around the 100,000 mark, but we're not sure if that fits you because you do have a nice home in a nice area. Where are you needing to be? And if she's like, oh, 180, 200, okay, no, we're gonna, we can list you, and we can list her. She is within our listing territory. So as soon as we get done with this, we'll give her a call. Is there anybody else you want to talk about?
I mean, I don't know if you wanted to do because we talked about the commercial deal a little bit. I don't know if you still wanted to do that.
Yeah. And again, same thing. And I apologize that I'm bad at this right now.
No, you good. You good.
But please, I know we talk about talking every day at noon or whatever every couple of days. Just call me. Call me and bug me until don't. Everyone says, "Well, I don't want to bug you." No, that's the point. The point is that me remembering to call you, it's got to be the reverse. Hey, Steve, I need this. That's the direction I need it to be at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just didn't interfere with any business or anything on your end, so it's like I'll just wait. Whenever.
No, never wait. That's the whole point.
Okay.
That's the whole point. My job is to serve the agents, and whoever's getting in front of me is the one that gets dealt with. Because otherwise, what I spent the last 3 days on is trying to get Garfield and some other things to close, and but that isn't all consuming. That isn't non-delayable. That's something I can delay. I've been working with the web designer and some other stuff on converting our websites and upgrading our software. That's not something I can't put to the side. So let's talk about the commercial property because that'll be a good way to wrap up. This is going a little bit commercial.
Mm-hmm.
What's the scoop on it?
Well, basically, like I said, now let me get my notes for that. What he said to my assistant a few days ago was he wanted 1.4 for it. It's the 6 units, commercial thing. I don't know if you have the email. I'm about to see if I
Yeah, just looking for that.
was the let me see if I can get it.
Yeah, what's the address on it?
Uh
Is the South 44th?
19, yep, 19 South 44th, yep.
All right. Now, was this the guy that was like, I don't want to tell you anything about the condition and all that crap?
No, he was too busy, and he was like, just call me when I'm not as busy, or like just email me.
Okay, all right, okay. So he's not blowing you off. All right.
Yeah, he had a crap ton of work.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so text him also. We can knock him out right after this call.
Okay.
All right. So basically, the first thing we do with commercial property. So what do we know? So this is really all we know on condition.
Yeah, and I looked at well, as you can see the links and stuff. I actually looked up those links and put them in there, and that's mainly everything in that area. Let me see. I'm about to double back in this again.
And so because it's Philadelphia, and this is not okay. So there are a few things you always it's beautiful. How do you get 6 units in there? It must be both of these, I'm guessing.
Probably.
Oh, this is an apartment listing. Okay. No. Oh, so this isn't his. This is a neighbor's. Okay. So $2,200 is pretty much what the rents are bought, because that was the first place I wanted to go. I wanted to see what the rents were.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
All right. So what we do is we take this and we go 2,200. That's rent per. Well, actually, I'll where's my other spreadsheet? There it is. Okay, fine. So let me just take this over here. So this is our debt service coverage ratio spreadsheet. Now, we don't know a lot of information here, but what we do know is we know 2,200 times 6. Maybe it's 2,000 times 6, maybe it's whatever, but 1,600 to 2,100. So whatever 1,600 to 2,100 is averaged is where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we will look at this more closely. But we're just saying the average of that times 6 is 11,000 a month. So the average of lowest rent and highest rent averaged out times 6. Fine.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And we're telling it it's 6 units. In this case, so 6 is probably going to be around 5,000 square feet. Again, we don't know a lot.
Yeah, it's 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
5,000 to be exact.
Yeah, and we might even have that. I mean, that might even be in part of what you sent over. The square footage might even exist. Yeah, 5,000. Okay. Whoa, that shouldn't happen. Put that back where it belongs. So it's assessed at 1.4. Prop stream estimating to taxes of $2,000 a year. I'll put it in, but surprises the living hell out of me. Just because, wow, for Philadelphia. So we put in this. We put in whatever we think. So there's 2 ways to do. Let me go to this spreadsheet. When I run multifamilies, I take out 10% maintenance, 10% management, 10% vacancy. I take out all my hard costs, and then I also double beat up my hard costs by adding them. So if my hard costs are $5,000 a year, I divide 5,000 by 12, and I add it to my mortgage payment. So I'm for me personally, I'm beating up my numbers. This is the normal buyer who's not beating up their numbers that way. Normal buyer is doing a loan to value of 0.75. Normal buyer is doing maybe 4%, 12% maintenance vacancy management total if they're doing anything.
Right.
He's telling us it's 2,100 taxes. Shocking for Philadelphia. I feel like there should be a 0 on that. Insurance, for me, it's 800 a unit. And again, I do not have Philadelphia, so I don't know. I don't, an insurance provider would have to give us that. Other operating expenses, who knows? I don't know what Philadelphia has. These are the questions that we don't know from him, so we need to know.
Gotcha.
But we say, okay, we're grossing 131. We're clearing, expenses are 22. All the stuff, the pads and everything. So our NOI is 108. Now, and this is where this spreadsheet you get to play with it. So $2,100,000 means you're borrowing 1.5. Means it is losing money. It's making point. So DSCR is debt service coverage ratio. How much more is the profit than the debt? Below 1, it's the other way around. You're losing money. You
Cool.
want that to be a 1.25. Now,
Yeah.
some investors go at 5% total, not 12%. So, okay, so we can do that. I had a very long conversation with, but even at that, a very long conversation with a realtor from Lehigh Valley who was like, well, you have to do it that way. Everything else comes out of your profit. I'm like, I am not taking my maintenance and my management out of my profit, because then it's not called profit. Okay. Right. So profit's what goes back in my pocket. But even if I go to 5%, which is the lowest the bank is going to let you go, this building doesn't pay a $1.5 million mortgage, which means, just to put it in real terms, the investor puts in the number from 2.1 to 1.57. That comes out of their pocket. That comes out of their line of credit. That comes out of somewhere. And that's why, for me, I always do my math based on borrowing every dime. My money is always borrowed from me at whatever I'm paying the bank. So, but most investors don't do that. My down payment is a gift to the property.
Gotcha.
Well, even at that point, and a 6.9, which is, about modern interest rate, that's fine. Not sure why that 2 is there. So I have to keep playing the game. And I'm just going to, for fun, just to make this easy to look at, is I'm going to move the DSCR up there. Now, what's $500,000? Whoops. Not 15 million. That'd be different.
I mean, it is a little crazy though, because I was looking at some more numbers, and in 2015, as per according to Zillow, it sold for like 100,000.
Yeah.
So when he said 1.4, I was like, yikes. But I mean, I was like, it is commercial, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, 1.4 is, by income valuation, is retail.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 1.6, but loan amount of 1.2 gives us a 1.25 DSCR. Now, so we need to call him up. We need to find out and I'm just thinking about how I can avoid you guys feeling, because I've heard this a couple times and I want to fix this, how I can avoid you guys feeling, gee, don't bother Steve. I'm going to, in addition to call me anytime, I'm going to make an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon for anyone to, dedicated office hours. I'll answer the phone right away, whatever. I'm finding out I have to build systems, because I'm having too many people feel that way, and I don't want that to happen. But basically, 1.6 is a retail investor's yes number on this property. 1.114 is it's a good deal for him at 1.4. Now for me, I'm just going to clone this one. I'm going to rename this and call this DSCR sheet normal. And I'm going to duplicate this sheet. And I'm going to rename it And I'm calling it light because I actually, so just so you see what I do when I beat the crap out, I call it double expenses.
Okay.
So I have my regular where this is my debt service calculator. And this calculates my debt service based on the interest rate entered and other stuff over here. So it takes this number at that interest rate, amortizes it, whatever, at 100%. I'm borrowing every dollar. Now, when I double my expenses, what I'm doing is I'm adding back in my taxes, insurance, and other expenses. So I'm basically beating my numbers up one level even higher. Most people aren't that just isn't reasonable. But for me, I'm going to take it on the SF number, and I'm going to say I'm borrowing every dime of this thing. And I'm doing 10% maintenance, 10% management, 10% vacancy. Now for me to make a DSCR number, now for me to make a 10% DSCR, I got to be 1,200,000. Wow, I'm gonna be one. Yeah. Okay, so the rest of the world says woohoo at $1.6 million. The banks is going to say yes to this deal, assuming our numbers down here are correct, our expenses. I'm not going to say yes to this deal until 850. For me personally, that does not affect how we bid properties. We bid properties based on the rest of the world.
Okay.
But we do both calculations because what we want to do is we want to say to the guy, hey, listen, by the time I hire a manager, yada, 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 I really should be like $900,000. And he's going to say, oh, okay, I want 9, you want 1.4. Where's your number? Because I know another investor is going to look at it and say 1.6 is an okay number. So now I've established he wants an okay retail number. We want to know what the gap is. And if we have to list this all day long, I'll take this listing. Yeah, so basically that's kind of where it worked. So anyway, so that's how we evaluate.
Got you. So it works on the investor side, on the standard investor side. That number works. But
exactly, yeah. I mean, this, he's not crazy. He's not a discount, but he's not crazy. Now we also have to realize that he kind of is a discount because if the rest of the world says 1.6 and he says 1.4, we got him at 1.3. There'll be a guy out there for 1.4
immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so we got him at 1.3 and $20,000, and we're happy. So he definitely needs to, we definitely need to follow up with him. And again, please, guys, I'm begging you, and I do this. I don't want to overstress this, but don't let me forget to follow up with you. That is my worst trait, is forgetting who I need to call back. And it'll get to be like midnight, and I'll call crap. Get me when you need me, especially if there's a deal on the line, because we all only eat if there's something on the line. Because when that's not happening, I'm trying to set up systems to make everything better. And sometimes I just go down that rabbit hole. So just reach out to me.
100%. Duly noted.
I'm the chief engineer. You guys need to bug me and say, hey, this is broken over here. That's what it comes down to.
Duly noted. Okay.
All right, cool.
So you want to start with Tamaqua first and then segue over to the commercial?
So I'll sign off this. And then what we'll do is, because I don't want to record her conversation, but I'll sign off this, and then just I'll dial you up on the phone. And we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right.